So in this video, I want to talk about Moonlit fantasy again, but I want to talk about two things. One, about the goddess, and something a little bit different about what I previously talked about, but kind of talking about the whole idea of heroism. What is fake? What is real? What defines a hero? In some of my past videos, I did try to kind of provoke a bit of thought pattern. I wasn't trying to clickbait or negatively try and draw bad emotions, but try to get people to think and try and provoke some interesting comments. And I did definitely get that. I did bait some, and I definitely got some interesting comments. But the reason why was because I wanted to try and get people to answer a question. What makes a hero? And it was more about two things, like in the sense of what makes a hero in the pure sense of heroism in its sense. Like, is it someone that is a firefighter, a police officer, a nurse, a doctor, etc.? People that do things above the norm of trying to go out there and be helpful, try and help people in great need, or is those kind of things just seen as a norm? And that's why I also threw out the analogy, which I think my mistake was I kind of didn't give context to why I said what I said, was that a hero needs a villain, but a villain doesn't need a hero. And the reason why I said that is because of how modern day people act when it comes to heroism. Like, I see it a lot online, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all these different social media apps, and I see a lot of these people trying to proclaim themselves as the hero of the people. Oh, well, this show shouldn't have these issues because it's too derogatory, it's horrible, it's nasty topics. Like, you look at Mushoku Tensei, I just talked about it recently, and people complaining about how the anime shouldn't exist because it has sensitive topics like, you know, quite degrading parts about Rudy's behavior and how he does inappropriate things, or how Paul cheats on his wife. Different things that kind of show that human nature, we are as flawed as they come. And so people try to go grandstanding and say, well, these anime shouldn't exist because they have topics that I don't feel comfortable, and to save everyone their sensitive feelings, we should get rid of these. And then they claim themselves to be heroes. Certain content creators that will project and claim themselves to be heroes. And that's why I say a hero doesn't need a villain. Sorry, I said it wrong. A villain doesn't need a hero, but a hero needs a villain, because they create these fake problems. But many people pointed out that, you know, people that go into situations of rescuing and all that, those are heroes. And absolutely, those are heroes. But that is one of the things that I want to bring up, is that what defines a hero in the basic sense of who gives the title? And this was what I kind of pulled out of some people, because some people are like, well, the goddess gives that title in the anime. And I'm like, really? Like, she just summons someone and then they're a hero? Is that how it works? Because that basically means that she is a law in itself, and that you basically would, if you were a citizen or a human in that world, you would basically just go, well, the goddess defines what is a hero, I'm not going to put any more thought into that. What I'm trying to get at is you're basically throwing away any of your own thoughts and opinions and free thinking to basically going, well, the goddess is the one that decides that. Does that really make them a hero? Because at the end of the day, the goddess can summon someone, throw them into the world, and they can be an absolute narcissist, a horrible person, a person that thinks that they can steal other people and control and manipulate, and thinks that they can possess people and mind control them. Does that make someone a hero? I don't think so. Maybe you do. Maybe you could sit there and say, well, maybe doing those justifies the long term of them maybe saving the people, saving the world, if that's what their intent is. But again, there is also a saying that is very true. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And at the end of the day, doing those kinds of things, does it really make you a hero? Well, if that's a no, then if you also still believe that they're a hero because the goddess is the one that dictates it, then that's a contradiction. Because that was what I was trying to point out to people, that the goddess summons these people into the world, and then people go, oh, they're a hero. Why? Because the goddess said so. Okay, so they're the ones that make the laws, do they? Because at that point, they're basically a government entity. They're the ones deciding the law. But to me, what I'm trying to say is, really, you, the individual, decide if they're a hero. I could say someone's a hero, and you could say they're not a hero. The same person we could be talking about, and I could say they are, and you could say they aren't, or vice versa. Because at the end of the day, we as individuals decide if we see them as a hero. It's how we perceive them. But one of the things that I noticed when talking about Moonlit Fantasy is that people kind of see it as like, oh, well, it's a definitive fact because, well, that's what the goddess said. I don't agree with that. Now, to get into more detail about the goddess, I actually honestly think she is the villain of the story. And I saw that as a comment. And I was like, absolutely. I think she's a villain in the story. And again, what defines a villain? Is it someone giving that same title? Or is it how you perceive the person's actions? See, other people could see the goddess's actions as justified, and some people don't. Now, I see it as not justified because at the end of the day, the way I see it is that she's just using the world as her plaything. The world is just her toy, and she picks and chooses what she wants to do to people based on the whims of her emotions. Oh, you're pretty, you're not. Or you're useful, you're not. And then throws people around like rag dolls or toys for her own amusement. That doesn't make you a hero. That, to me, makes you a villain. You're just using people and potentially sacrificing lives, which in season 1 did happen. A lot of disaster was created and a big fight happened because some goddess tried to manipulate a certain conflict. Now, I assume that is going to happen in season 2 and maybe further on beyond that, which I'll be definitely getting into with the light novels. But to me, it feels like the goddess is worshipped by many, but she doesn't care about the people that worship her, the people that take her word as gospel. And she just sees everyone as playthings. And that's what I find so fascinating and interesting about Moonlit Fantasy. Because it delves into these ideas of, at least for me, because again, a picture says 1,000 words of how you want to interpret something. I find it interesting that it does explore the ideas of what makes a hero, what doesn't make a hero, who is really good and evil. And even though she is seen as a goddess by some people, is she really that good of an individual, or is there just more of a game to her? And other characters that are now getting introduced that have got some interesting thoughts about things that can go on, like the idea of the main protagonist not just deciding to stay or leave, but jumping between worlds, and the lifespan, and the dragon girl, and her wanting to spend more time with the main protagonist. And it's just so interesting to see all these different thoughts. And I definitely do think when I get into the light novels of the series that I will be going into more detail, because of course, anime, light novel, there's always going to be some things missing. I do think the anime's probably done a great job at the adaptation, but I'll definitely know once the light novel's first volume comes out on the 30th of March, I will be doing light novel reviews and analysis on the light novel series. So if you want that, stay tuned for light novel content on Moonlit Fantasy. But at the end of the day, the point that I'm bringing up, and I'd love to ask you the question, do you believe a powerful entity should be the one that decides if something is good or evil? And are they a law above themselves? That's the question. And do you think the goddess is some evil, well, I wouldn't say some evil diabolical villain, but just not a good person? At the end of the day, I wouldn't say she's planning to mass murder everyone for the sake of it, but at the end, if it meant more entertainment for her, or her achieving her overall goal, maybe she would consider that. And who's going to be there to stop her? Is it going to be those other heroes that she summoned, or will it be the main protagonist and the people standing by his side? That's the question. And again, I'm loving the series. I'm loving the episodes. I'm really looking forward to the story getting more deeper and deeper and deeper into other stuff that's to come, because honestly, I love Moonlit Fantasy. Been loving season 2, and I love the fact that it is a double core season, because there is so much to explore. And I'm also enjoying the fact that the series is not rushing things. It is taking it slow and steady and building the world and the characters. I understand the first couple of episodes, people weren't happy that it did focus on the other 2 characters being introduced, but I think it justifies the needs in the long term, because these characters are clearly going to be pivotal, and they need to be explained and need to show you who they are, why they're there. And so when everything kind of comes together, it all makes sense. And so I'm super excited to see some of these characters actually meet up, mainly again the 3 main ones that are summoned to the alternative world, and the fact that there have been others that have as well in the past, and maybe in the future. Really excited to see where the story goes. Again, I don't want any spoilers, because I'm super looking forward to reading the light novels and reading ahead of the series. I will ask one question though. as far as the anime and the light novels go, what volume is the anime up to currently right now? So again, if you like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful nerds in the next video.